Hey guys, it's me Astrid, and today I wanted to talk to you about a tricky topic. I'm not an expert in this topic by any means. I'm passing along information that I have been told to you guys because it might help some of you guys. And it's about Catasetum type orchids, and I'm new at growing Catasetum type orchids. So anything I say, please take with a pinch of salt and do your own research, but this is what I understand to do in this situation based on what I've been told. Now, my situation is that my friend Jason messages me on Facebook and he's like, "Hey Astrid, I just found a $12 Catasetum saccatum from Ecuagenera for like $10. And I was like, "Jason, get me in on that order. Let me piggyback that. I want that orchid for $10. Get it to me." So this is what I got. For $10 from Ecuagenera, I got this massive thing, and it had another bulb that was super fat that just fell off. But this is a huge plant. I was expecting a dinky ass little shriveled back bulb, and I got this. You know, that's pretty impressive for $10. So I can't comment on the order from Ecuagenera, but I can say that they sent out a big fat healthy plant to us, and good on you, Pepe. Good on you. Is that the guy's name? I don't know, but anyway. So here's the tag. It's from Ecuagenera. Now the trick here is that, as you know, Ecuador is in the southern hemisphere, and I live in the northern hemisphere. And these things, you can't just tell a plant, "Hey, you just did a 180 on your seasons. Can you fix that for me?" Plants are going to have a hard time transitioning. And that's the tricky situation. How do I transition a highly seasonal plant from a southern hemisphere to a northern hemisphere, or vice versa? Now, I called Fred Clarke of Sunset Valley Orchids about this to ask him, because he's one of the only experts I know of in catasetums. And I said, "Fred, what do? I just got an orchid from the southern hemisphere. It thinks that it's about to go dormant and go into wintertime, but I am about to go into summertime. What do I do?" And he told me a few things. First off, these leaves were green when the plant arrived because the plant was at the end of its active growth season, and this plant was actually in spike. Cool, right? Yes. However, Fred told me, and as I've also experienced, Catasetum leaves don't travel well. When you put them through the mail and you put them in a box, probably, maybe because of light, that's my guess, is the lessened light and temperature and blah blah. When you put them through the mail, that's a trigger for these guys to kind of go dormant on you. So once the leaves start looking like this, you probably shouldn't give it any water. I experienced this last year with my Cycnodes Wine Delight. I had to repot it because it had some pests in it, and the medium I put it into was wet. And it had leaves looking like this. It was just starting to enter dormancy. And when I did that and it was wet, one of the bulbs started rotting very quickly. And I had to cut the spike, and I had to unpot it, and I had to get it out of that wet medium, which was unfortunate. So at this point, this plant probably shouldn't have any water anymore. You can see that in the leaves, especially with the shock of travel. So what Fred said is, get this thing to go dormant ASAP, lower lights, all this thing. And then once the bulbs have hardened off, which, fuck me if I know what hardened off bulbs means. I need to ask someone that. I thought I understood it, and now I'm realizing I don't. But once this is totally dormant and the bulbs have hardened off, you need to rapidly encourage it to come out of dormancy. So once the bulbs are nice and settled, get it to come out of dormancy, meaning give it higher light, give it warmer temps, give it warm night temps, all these things that tell it, "Oh, hey, guess what? Come out of dormancy. It's summertime. Come on, little plant. Come on." And get it to come out of dormancy. He said right now it's May. It'll probably be able to start coming out of dormancy and putting out a growth in June or July for me. And when that happens, you're going to get a growth that's maybe a quarter or a half the size of the old bulbs, because its growth season was substantially shortened. Additionally, he said giving it 50% humidity during the time when you're really trying to encourage it to come out of dormancy without getting the plant wet prematurely is going to help it encourage to grow. Another thing that he told me was to increase the duration of the growing season. You can use seedling heating mats and set them at 65 degrees Fahrenheit under the bulbs, under the pots maybe. I'm not totally sure. But use warmth to extend the growing season into a later part of the year. Keep the nighttime temperatures warmer with heating mats. And that way this orchid will think, oh, I can keep growing. Then, of course, the new bulb is going to go dormant this fall or winter for me. And then next year, it's going to go again. Fred said adjusting and acclimating a plant imported from the southern hemisphere is like a 2-year adjustment period. So that's something to really consider when you're transferring plants from the southern to the northern hemisphere. It's going to take a while for this plant to adjust itself. But gosh, this is such a beautiful plant. Another thing Fred told me is that he doesn't often like to import plants from the southern hemisphere to the northern because of the struggle with totally flipping their seasonal growth patterns on them. You can't communicate that to plants, and so sometimes they don't do well and sometimes they die. And given that this cost me only 10 bucks, I wouldn't feel it's such a loss about that. Additionally, this is a pretty fun challenge for me to try to acclimate this species Catasetum to a northern hemisphere after it's grown pretty well, as you can tell, in a southern hemisphere. I'm really interested to see what happens. Just to recap, what I was told and what I understand from what I was told is that 1, I need to get this plant to go into dormancy ASAP. 2, once it's totally dormant and the bulbs have hardened off, I need to quickly encourage it to come out of dormancy while my growing season is still active. 3, I need to keep temps, light, and humidity when this is an active growth nice and high. 50% humidity without prematurely getting it wet. Good light, good temps, warm temps. A heating mat can help you keep the bulbs warm going into the fall. And what number I was on, I don't remember, but the next thing is that expect a growth that's 1/4 to half the size of what these back bulbs are. And understand that this is probably going to be a 2-year adjustment and you might lose the plant in the process. It's a hard adjustment. I hope that helps you guys kind of understand the process. If you ever order from Ecuagenera or another group from the opposite hemisphere as yourself, you have to understand that, yeah, it's going to be hard for the plant to adjust. But apparently not impossible, and I'm looking forward to trying. So I'll try to post updates on this every once in a while and let you guys know how it's adjusting. And we'll see what happens. I hope I've correctly relayed all of this information, and I hope that it helps some of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.